Also, I didn't rehearse this.
Are we supposed to rehearse?
I don't know. Are we supposed to rehearse? I have no idea. Hi. How are you?
Okay, SpongeBob.
Where are we going? Right?
We're going on a trip in our favorite rocket ship, zooming through the skies, little lifestyle.
So this is the highly requested. Am I prim and proper? No. Q&A. I asked you guys all over social media to ask me a question or Travis a question. And then we would sit down, film it, answer it. So Daisy on TikTok wants to know, will I be working with UV Resin now that I have Ethan? The answer is yes. I still work with UV Resin. I have my workspace in the garage, so it is separate from the house, as well as I have fume extractors. And then if I really wanted to open the garage up, I could. I also have fans. So we have the air circulating in that sense. So yes, I'm still working with UV resin. I don't work with epoxy, so I don't have to worry about it constantly curing. Christina from TikTok asking, when will I come back on lives? So right now, because of Ethan, his schedule and everything, we're still kind of learning how we're doing things. So I have been doing some lives where I do go live at night, right after I put him down for bed. And then I try to go live Tuesdays and Thursdays when my parents come in. I plan on doing a Tuesday, a Thursday if I can when my parents are watching him, or at night whenever we put him down for bed. From Ness over on TikTok as well. And I'm going to tie this in with Angie's question too. So Ness asked, how did I start the business and what are some tips to start a small business? And then Angie asked, how long did it take my business to kick off? It started off as a hobby. I really didn't plan it to be a business. No, I worked in dental. I've been in the dental field for a long time, and I was telling Travis that I didn't really have friends, and so I wanted to pick up a hobby, and that's when I started doing tumblers. And then when I was doing tumblers, my manager at the time wanted me to do the badge reels. So then I started off with the badge reels, and then we just progressed from there. That's where we started. As far as how long it took my business to take off, so I started June of 2020, but I didn't really actually do much until December of 2020. So I was just lollygagging for 6 months, but then once I really took it serious, I would say within that next 6 months, I would say about a year for me to really kickstart the business. And then I posted videos on TikTok. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just posting videos on TikTok, and then that's when kind of TikTok was doing its thing, and I ended up going viral a few times, and then that's kind of where I am now. Is I have so many followers on TikTok, I don't even know why or how. I just post videos, and
sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be.
So that's pretty much a year for it to kick off, really. As far as like tips on how to start a small business or anything in regards to that, my main thing is be yourself. Don't try to be someone you're not. People can smell if you're just being fake, if you just are trying to be someone that you're not. Just be yourself. There's people that are gonna like you for who you are and people that are not gonna like you, and that's okay. You're not gonna be everyone's cup of tea, tequila, whatever you drink nowadays. As well as be original. I have always told myself there's always going to be copycats out there. People are always going to want to copy you. Like for me, I like to create all of my designs, and that is how I set myself apart from everybody. Set yourself apart from people, and that's how you can grow your business in a sense. Don't try to be like everybody else. And also, don't compare yourself too. What do they say? Comparison is the thief of joy. And you're just going to be down in the dumps if you continue to compare yourself to other people, because they're in a different spot than where you are. You're in a different spot than where they are. You're never going to be in the same spot, and you don't want to. You want to be in your own lane.
Treat it as a hobby for as long as you can, because the moment you treat it as a business, it becomes work. There was a time in the 3 years that it became, for quite a few months, almost, what would you say, almost maybe about a year, maybe nine months to a year, that it became a business, like a job, where it wasn't as fun.
I was getting so burnt out, and my creativity was just not there. Has my creativity come back in a sense? Yeah.
Treat it as a hobby for as long as you possibly can, and it will thrive.
The one thing that I focus on is I make it personable, right? Is that the word? I make it personable. I like to get to know you guys. I like to get to know my customers. I like to get to know you as friends, essentially. Because yeah, you know, I'm showing you the stuff that I like to make. But at the same time, I'm not just treating you as a customer number 4200059, whatever, right? I'm treating you like a person. And that's the thing too, is that you have to remember that I'm a person and you're a person. You have feelings, I have feelings. So if you just constantly treat your customers as dollar signs, that's not going to get you much. You're not really gonna get anywhere. It's the relationship that you build with your customers. It's a lot, right? It's a lot of generalization for how to start your business. Check your state, what you need to do as far as how to set up a business when it comes to that.
Everyday Crafts wants to know, how is your work schedule? Do you have certain hours you work during the day, or do you rather work during the day or the evening?
So I don't really have a work schedule. I just work when I can, when he lets me, right? During the day, except for Tuesdays and Thursdays when my parents come and help in the afternoon. Those are the only days I have dedicated to working. But as far as like the other days, it's just I try to fit in what I can. And then now, because he's starting to sleep a little bit more at night, once he goes down for bedtime, I go out and work for about an hour and a half at night. I prefer to work during the daytime, but I can't sometimes. So right now I'm working in the evenings.
Both Mia and Meredith wants to hear the birth story.
There's actually quite a few people that want to hear a birth story about Ethan, and that's going to be its own separate video just because there's a lot on the birth story. Have a question from Sassy Cow. Asking, what is my favorite thing to make that I offer? My favorite thing, and you're not gonna believe this, I actually like doing badge reels. And I know nobody asked this question, right? Of what's my least favorite thing to make? It's actually glitter pens. I don't like making glitter pens, but that is what you guys love the most.
Really? Because I know something that is your absolute least favorite.
Oh, the trauma shears?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes. The least favorite was my trauma shears. Those, I don't know if they're ever gonna come back. But yeah, my favorite thing is badge reels just because I can make it my own. There's a lot of little itty bitty things that I could work with and change. And that's what I like.
Yeah, Michelle on Facebook says, do you have a business place and do you do it all by yourself?
So I started in Ethan's room, right? I did tumblers in there. And then from there, then I migrated over here. Doing my TikTok lives, I started TikTok here in this office, right? And Travis was on this side. We started getting busier, right? So then I needed the garage space. So then at that point, then the garage became mine. And then we got even more busy that I ended up hiring Jimena. She was my first employee. And then from there, we got busier that we needed a bigger space. So I got an office suite.
It was about 1,000 square feet.
It was right close, close to the house and everything. And that's when we ended up hiring Brittany because of the help that we needed. That was last year that we did all of that. Once 2023 came, January was kind of slow, February was kind of slow, and then we started noticing a pattern.
The economy started doing poorly near the end of 2022, but we were seeming to be okay. Everything was fine, and then we started noticing, we were thinking that we weren't going to be affected by it. A lot of people were affected way earlier than the end of 2022, and we were still thriving. We were still doing great, but then 2023 started, and it started slow. It took a drastic slowdown. Yeah. It wasn't like a gradual thing. It was a very it was as if everybody woke up the next day and said, I'm not spending any money. And that was when we started noticing a trend of downward.
So it wasn't something that we obviously took into account or even prepared for. It was in March when we started talking about, hey, we're possibly going to have to move back into the garage. Brittany at that time, she was about to have her baby, but she wasn't going to come back. She was going to school. And so then we talked to Jimena about the possibility, what was going on. After
Brittany had left, and then we said, okay, this is what's going on. We started talking to Jimena and we said, hey, here's where we are. Here's what we might be, heading back. We talked to our landlord and was like, hey, can we put the space up on the market? The sooner you can get it rented out to someone else, the better. Mm-hmm. And we explained that, to Jimena. We also explained kind of our plan. If we hit or miss this number by this date, we're going to swap this around. If we miss this number by this date, we're going to do this. And
I even cut my paycheck to try and keep things afloat, to keep Jimena like longer and to keep the space longer and everything.
That's something I'm sure people have wondered before. The business makes money, but Priscilla and I do not pull in every single dollar. We set Priscilla up on a W-2. She gets the same amount. It doesn't matter if the business does great, the business does terrible. Same amount. Our goal is just to keep stable income.
I'm not trying to be a millionaire.
Yeah. We had some plans in place of like, hey, we're going to do this. Hey, we're going to do that. In the event that it gets really bad, unfortunately, yeah, we would have to part ways. It's not something we wanted. We tried to kick it down to part-time. Keep in mind, this was like a 3-month notice thing of like, hey, here's what's going on.
We give a big notice because the last thing we want is to just pull the rug out from somebody.
And we told her like a million times, like, hey, if you gotta miss work to go take an interview, take the interview. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no, I don't care if you get a call and you're on your way to work and you're like, hey, they want you to come in that day, go.
And then also too with Ethan, I didn't know how that was going to go. Like whenever he was born, like I didn't know how my work was going to be affected. A lot of factors that went into all the decisions that we made. To now, where am I at? I'm working back down in the garage. So now my whole entire setup is downstairs. There is no more a little bit here and then down there. No, I do everything in the garage. Okay, so I have a question from Facebook from Ashley asking, how am I doing postpartum? Well, I'm doing a lot better now, which I will tie into his birth story. Not only am I going to do his birth story, but I'm also going to talk about the aftermath of everything, like the postpartum and everything I went through, because I talked briefly about it, the dissociation, it was just a mess.
Stay tuned for that.
That one is going to be its own video. But right now, I would say I'm probably doing better than I have since he was born. All right, now we have a question from Desiree on Facebook. I kind of already talked about how I started my business now, and then she's asking, what is the hardest thing I make? Glitter pens are the hardest thing. How did I come up with my son's name? So Ethan, I actually don't even know where I got it from, but I did hear that name, I would say like 5 or 6 years ago, and I really liked it. And I always told myself that if I had a boy, I wanted to name him Ethan. And then whenever I told Travis about it, and I was like, oh, this is the name that I've had picked out for a boy. He's like, oh, I like that. They were trying to come up with a middle name, so we both came up with it, and we liked Ethan Lee.
How did you and your husband meet?
How did we meet?
She slid into my DMs.
Sin City was a maybe.
I did. I downloaded Bumble, right? It was Bumble, yeah.
And then she saw me, and then she just deleted the app, and she was like, that's it. That's all I needed right there. Bam.
Bumble, I liked it better because it was the girl that made the move.
She slid into my DMs.
Angels like you.
Yo, Bumble, you want to sponsor it? I'm just kidding.
Tinder was more of like, let's meet up and, do some things. And I wasn't about that life. I wanted to actually get to know a person. So then when I swiped on him, it said we matched. And I was like, oh, so he's already, I guess, looked at my stuff. And then I started messaging him. Obviously, he messaged back and everything. And then I would say our conversations were different. Our conversations were long.
It wasn't like short, different. Like, how was your day? And it was like, oh, it's good. How was yours? Oh, it's good. No, It wasn't like that. It would be like an actual conversation.
Yeah.
All right, so the next question is, does your husband help with your business? I do not make things. I do not do well with colors. I'm not colorblind, but I don't do well with colors. So yeah, I don't make items. I don't make products. I don't have a creative bone in my body. I'm also not delicate, and a lot of the stuff she makes and does is delicate. I'm not very good with my hands in the sense of delicate work. I do a lot of the tech stuff. So I built the website. A lot of the features on the website you see, I made like that, the font preview tool, a lot of the ordering stuff, the estimated ship by date, that kind of stuff. So that's what I help with. Ash Diamonds on Instagram asks, what's the best way to get in contact to place an order?
Best way to get in contact us to place an order, like a custom order, is on the website. It's on the website. There is a contact us button on the bottom right hand corner. If you have a question about your order, a question about like a custom order, or if you want to do a custom order, that's the best place you can reach me. There's a question from Mrs. K. Barrera in Instagram. I forgot what this one was. Do you plan to speak Spanish to Ethan? I do, yes. I have my parents, they speak Spanish to him whenever they come. And then I'm starting to now, trying to speak a little bit more Spanish to him.
Especially because he's talking. He's starting to talk. Like, coo.
No. Yeah, now that he's starting to coo and talk, I want him to be able to hear both languages. So, but yes, we are planning on teaching Ethan Spanish. We have a question from Genta Bose that on Instagram. What new goals do you have for your shop? So for 2024, I do plan on expanding my business into doing embroidery. Try to teach myself how to do embroidery. And then I have told Travis for a few years that I've been wanting to do like laser cutting, like a laser machine. So those are the goals, is to expand into embroidery, laser cutting. I know I am introducing magnetic bookmarks for the Valentine's launch. And then my other goal for 2024 is to stay on top of the holidays. I want to be able to get stuff out well before the holidays start, not literally 2 or 3 weeks before the holidays. This year I didn't do anything for fall or Christmas because of this little guy right here. So that essentially restarted me. Now, this is 2 questions by the same person, Miss Diaz XO on Instagram. What's the scariest thing about owning a business? I love you too. I see that. Scariest thing is you have no idea how the economy, is going to do. You have no idea if you're going to have a good day or a bad day. Whenever you're launching something, you can be so excited for it, create all this hype and everything, everybody be excited, and it completely flops, or it does well. The thing is just the unknown. The scariest part is you have no idea what's going to happen. And then she also asked, how has having a baby changed everything? Relationship, life, and work. Work-wise, I have to figure out schedules with him now.
Not really a schedule, it's more like when you're just adapting to. Yeah,
I have to essentially life and work, I adapt to him, to his schedule, because whenever he's hungry, gotta feed him. You know, if he has change the diaper, gotta change his diaper, you know? So essentially I'm working on his schedule. His schedule, we both are. We're both working on his schedule. As far as our relationship goes, a lot of communication. I will say, like, in those first couple of weeks when he was born, which is, one thing we're going to talk about in his birth story, was just how much of a robot I was, the sleep deprivation, and I essentially, wasn't doing the best in communicating my feelings and my emotions, and
understandably.
So a lot of it is communication, learning how to communicate with your partner and letting them know, hey, this is what's going on. So a lot of it is just working as a team, that we've learned to do better and communicate better as far as the relationship goes.
That's the biggest thing, is the communication. Like, one thing that we established even before he was born was that we're gonna have a safe space. Like, there's not gonna be any a judgment-free zone kind of thing. Like, if you're feeling a type of way, say it. If you don't like this, say it, because it's better to just be open and honest and attack that problem together than, bottle it up and then it explode one day.
Which it happened to me a few times. Okay, I'm just not the best
Again,
at
understandably.
that. I was like, I'm not the best at that. So the next question by Turquoise Moon Designs on Instagram. She actually has a few questions, so I'll try to tackle them. What has been my biggest hiccup being a small business owner? Was it Etsy? I would say that probably was my biggest hiccup. That was the first time I think I had gone viral.
Probably the most biggest pivoting moment of the business.
Yeah.
But it was probably also the most stressful.
Yeah, because I went viral, but I went viral for literally everything in my store. Like, I went viral for my Tiny Hearts cup, my badge buddies, my badge reels, and my glitter pins all at the same time. And I didn't control myself, and I learned my lesson. That's why I limit.
It wasn't just her too; it was both of us. We would just she would put in this amount of quantity that would sell out. Then I would go up and up. We'd be excited. I mean, we would talk do you want me to put more in there? Yeah. So I'd put more in there, and it just we dug a nice deep hole for that one.
That's when Jimena came in to help, and now I learned my lesson, and I limit myself, and I push if I meet a certain amount for how many orders I take for the week, then I push it okay, now the shipping date changes and it goes to the next week. So I worked out how much I can handle, and I don't try to overdo it. That was my biggest hiccup, but also the biggest lesson I learned. All right, so we're finishing our Q&As on a different day now. The other question we had is from Turquoise Moon Designs. They asked a few questions, so this one is their last one. How did we find our website builder? They are having a hard time getting their setup. I married him. So Travis is actually the one that built my website, did everything, the configuration of the website and everything of emails, estimated ship by dates, finding the apps that I have in the store, the whole entire thing.
When she says like I built it, yes, I built a lot of custom stuff, but a lot of stuff I was learning as I did it. I know a decent amount of HTML, a decent amount of CSS. I learned a lot of it as I was just playing with it. I mean, there was moments where literally I broke stuff. Customer got mad at me. I remember that.
I remember that.
I just made something say the wrong thing.
And it freaked them out.
It made the website say the wrong thing. Their product and everything, the item was fine. It was just for about 20 minutes, their order showed that it had been canceled. I fixed it.
Yeah.
They were mad at me.
Also, in case if no one knows, Travis, obviously, he works in tech. How long have you been doing tech?
Probably about 12 years. Wow.
They're having a hard time getting theirs up and running. What would you suggest for them to look at?
I have a couple pieces of advice, or like a checklist of what you should kind of do if you're starting your own e-commerce or you're starting your own site. Number one, get a custom domain. Custom domains are very cheap and easy to come by. And when I say cheap, I'm talking $12 a year. Shopify makes it very simple to get a custom domain. Please do not use an @Gmail email address. If you're going to spend the money and get a custom domain, get a custom email. But get one. It's the best thing that you can possibly do. It looks professional, it looks good, and it's nice, you know?
And also a lot of these things, Google is a great resource, and YouTube, right? Yeah. For learning how to do things. I know I get asked a lot, like, well, how do you do this? How do you do that? The way I learned how to do things, one, trial and error, and then two, a lot of research.
And the other thing that I think a lot of people do is they want to start out by like paying for like a theme or a design. Use the free one. Shopify has a million beautiful free themes. In fact, there was at one point that we were looking at a free theme. I was like, this is impressive. If you're just starting out, start with the free one. There's plenty of things. And don't hold back. Just get what you need up there. Make a site that's nice and pretty. If you go simple, everybody loves simple.
Yeah.
You know, the like less is more kind of thing. So don't be afraid to launch with what you have. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. More important thing is launch. That's the biggest thing. And then if you're really, really struggling and you're willing to pay like something, check Fiverr. I know Fiverr has a million like Shopify experts or whatever they're called. Just do your research on them. Fiverr is like a really good resource for, some freelancers that would help.
Another question that we had from Miss Nina on Instagram was, how has Mama been lately? I've been doing good. I think I've been doing good. My brain, that's the only thing I will complain about, is my brain is everywhere. Everywhere and nowhere at the same time. But I've been doing good. I will go more into detail, like I said earlier, as far as like my journey postpartum, how I felt everything in the birth story. So
maybe you should start doing like check-ins. Like, hey, we're at our, we're coming up on that we just hit 3 months, but yeah, we're coming up on the 4 month, like coming up on 6 months, like how we doing postpartum,
Yeah. All right, and now we're coming to the end of our questions. So this question was asked by Miss Alyssa on Facebook, and it's a few of them. Okay, so we're gonna start with
a few of them.
Yes,
that's $5 per question,
oh
Alyssa.
My gosh. How many Carhartt pieces does Travis own? Ethan has a little Carhartt onesie and overalls and 2 onesies. But how many Carhartt pieces do you own is the real question. Mm-hmm.
It's at least maybe like 3.
That's a lie.
It's at least 3.
He has a lot of Carhartt pieces. Next question is, what's Ethan's favorite item at the moment? What would you say his favorite thing is right now?
Number 1?
Yeah.
Ceiling fan.
Yeah, I mean, if he does catch the ceiling fan, you know, like Travis says,
It's like it puts him in a trance.
yeah, it puts him in a trance. Yeah, ceiling fans. That's his biggest fan. He's the biggest fan, right? Ceiling fans, and then now he's starting to like his toys. So I guess we'll have to see which toys he favors after that. Next question is: as a busy mom, what is your go-to hairstyle? I just put my hair in a ponytail and like all the way back.
Same.
Angels like you.
Because Ethan likes to grab now, and sometimes, you know, it's like WWE and he's all, and I'm like, no, we're not gonna do that. So I just put my hair back in a ponytail. Yeah, he does grab his beard. Or up in a bun. I would say I don't have a hairstyle at the moment. Messy. And also, I'm losing hair.
Same.
And yeah, we're just going through it now. So I look like a hot mess most of the time. All right, and then this is the last question. We have made it. If you've made it this far, I appreciate it. Last question for our Q&A. Favorite place that we three have been to so far?
Oh, I don't know if you're gonna pick the same as me.
Huh?
For me, it was going to the Trail of Lights just to see his face light up. Like that was really the moment when it was like he was looking at lights. And I think you've shared the photo.
That was my favorite.
If not, we'll share it. But
yeah,
he is literally just looking at
his little face.
Yeah,
I probably will have to agree. When we went and took him to the Trail of Lights, and he saw all the Christmas lights, and you can just see his little face, just in pure excitement, and it kind of drew like it. The reason why I love that photo so much is because it brought me back to my childhood, right, and how I used to see things, and now I'm seeing the way that he sees things, and it just brings you back, and you're like, oh my gosh, like he had no care in the world, and all you see is just really pretty things, and that's what made you happy, right? Like just simple things. And he saw the lights, and his little face was, it's like just simple little lights made probably his whole entire night.
It was just being able to see his eyes light up
his
like that.
little reaction. I would agree with you on that one. Everyone that submitted a question, thank you guys for your participation. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. This is new to me, okay? Recording a video. It's not something I've ever done before. We hope to do more. We want to do more stuff as far as like daily vlogs, maybe some business stuff, things like that. But stay tuned.
Daily, maybe not.
Okay,
weekly.
We'll
We'll
reassess, right? We'll see how things go. But yeah, I think that's everything.
Be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, throw a like on this video.
You know, the way everything, how people end the videos, you know, the thing. Well, yeah. This is filmed before New Year's, so Happy New Year.